expects. Nobody expects the Spanish
Inquisition.
No, I know. No.
Hi, and welcome to Carolina Varsity Confession Session. This is the fourth one. I'm Dale Ross.
Now I'm the pet man, Matt Morrow.
Matt, the thing I want to get off my chest is scheduling, and I think this relates to the scheduling of Garinger, scheduling Mallard Creek.
Right.
And it's my belief a program, Garinger's been in this situation since the early 2000s when they went into the first decline, and they've had a couple of years that they've had a little bit of success, and then they change coaches and they just like reset and go back over.
Right.
And I think that when you have a program that's in the state of Garinger, what are they now, 34, 35 losses in a row, I got to look and see what the actual number is. You need to start considering scheduling games that'll give them an opportunity to win. One of the things I think is wrong with coaches or coaching is sometimes coaches set unrealistic expectations.
Right.
And I believe that's probably more damaging than it is to not set an expectation at all. And meaning, what I mean by that is you tell your team we're going to do this, and in your mind there's no way in the world you'll ever come close to doing that, whatever that is. And in this case it's finishing fourth in the conference. There's no way that's going to happen. Any more realistic to say, we're going to strive to be competitive and win a ball game.
Yeah.
Setting unrealistic expectations, and then try to schedule some games that they can actually win and build some success. Give some hope by building some success.
Well, I'll tell you this, man, and we talked about scheduling in the past. Let me back up. About setting expectations, I agree with you. Coming into a situation when you got a school that's been rebuilding, and I've been in that situation, of course.
Right.
And, the first thing you want to do is compete. You want to compete. And then if you want to set an expectation, we're in the state of North Carolina. It's not that hard to make the playoffs.
Right.
You can say, okay, let's make the playoffs.
There you go.
That's something that it can be realistic.
Yeah.
In a rebuilding situation, get 3 or 4 wins. You could sneak in.
That's right.
In terms of scheduling, we talk about it. It's difficult, and as a rebuilding team, you got 2 types of teams that want to play you. You got teams like Mallard Creek, obviously, that want to, play you and, work on some things, before getting into conference sometimes. And then you got teams that kind of look at you like, okay, this could be a challenge, maybe a lower level team, maybe a good 3A school or a good 2A school will say, okay, well, you guys are kind of down, well, let's play you. But in Garinger's case, as a 4A school, you're looking at a 3A, 2A school that's good and saying, well, what's really our advantage in playing these guys? I mean, they're still real good.
Right.
I'll tell you, a couple years ago, we had a debate about trying to play Anson County. Now, Anson County wasn't the same Anson County they were, but that stigma was there.
Sure.
And I remember I was going back and forth with our head coach at the time and saying, well, maybe we can play it, maybe we can't. They're not the same, but, he was like, this is a 3A school. And if they beat us, then what's the advantage of playing? So you got to really work to find teams that, number one, have that opening in your schedule. Number two, there's an advantage of playing them. And then number 3, how's it going to work logistically? Because scheduling comes down to money. It comes down to travel, and do you want to play it?
Sure.
So it's a challenge. But in saying that, I agree with what you're saying. Did they exhaust every opportunity to find someone else to play besides Mallard Creek? We don't know.
We don't know, but there should be, and we've seen in the past Shelby playing North Mecklenburg.
Yeah.
There are schools to the west of us in Gaston County, Cherville, Bessemer City, 1A schools that I'm sure they could probably work the game out with. There's 1A schools to the east of them. There's 1A schools in South Carolina.
Now, I agree with that too. But here's another thing. Those 1A schools don't like playing 4A schools. They think the 4A schools are bigger, stronger, faster. And I'll tell you right now, when I was at Harding, we tried to get them because we were down at times, and we were trying to build the confidence in our kids by scheduling those schools, and they didn't want to play. And you try to tell them, hey, we're rebuilding, we're down. Those guys don't want to buy it.
See, what you do if you're a Garinger is you say, we'll play you at your place 2 years.
Yeah, and that's another thing.
So we'll play you that. We'll give we'll give you our home game. Let's split what would be our home game. So you'll get two gates, and or you get 2 bigger gates. You don't have to travel to Charlotte to come play us. So there's things I think that could be worked out, and I'll just say that I think that's what needs to be done with schools that are in a position such as Garinger is in. You've got to find success so the kids know there's hope for more success.
Well, here's the other part of it. If they play that kind of game, I hope they got something out of it. Whether it's money or a split gate like you said, or I'll tell you, we were lining up to play Fayetteville Britt at Harding a couple years ago. We were deep into talking about it, and we had negotiated splitting the gate and getting the extra $1,000 out of it, getting our guys fed, and they were going to pay the travel.
Right.
So, I mean, it was almost a done deal, and then we had the coaching change happen. It didn't happen, but those are the kind of deals you want to do. You want to make it an experience for your kids if you're going into a situation where the game's going to be kind of tough. You want to get something positive out of it, and I hope that happened.
Well, see, that's what we did when my son was my oldest son played at Olympic. We went to Piedmont and played Piedmont at Piedmont 2 years in a row.
Right.
And gave them, because we knew the gates would be bigger. We were suffering at that time of getting people to come out at Olympic, and we got more money by splitting that second gate with them versus having to. They weren't going to come to Charlotte, and our fans weren't coming out, so our gate was going to be very, very low. We just had to, get on the bus and drive over there. But we got a better gate. The stands were full, and as many Olympic fans went to that game as would have gone to the game in Charlotte, and then of course 10 to 20 times more Piedmont fans were there. So they were very willing to make that arrangement because. Well, we gave them 2 big, opening season gates. So.
Yeah. So you guys ever have questioning about scheduling? Because it comes up every year.
Yep.
Take a look at this video. There's a lot of factors that go into it. It's just not, this school that want to play this school over at Duckin or whatever. You got to have an opening. You got to have a desire. And you got to have, something else to make it happen if the teams are not, equal on the schedule.
And playing South Carolina schools, they're on a different schedule.
Yeah, that's another part of it.
So you end up having a 1 game each year that you're going to have to find someone else to play somewhere, which could be another South Carolina school. But there's a lot of competition not too far from us. Clover's another school that is a little bit down and not the Clover they used to be. But find those kinds of schools, give those kids a little bit of taste of success instead of 70-0. I don't know what they got out of that game. The game was played at Mallard Creek, and maybe they split gates. I read someone said on the forum, but so at least Garinger maybe got a little something financially out of it. Sure enough, didn't get anything, I believe, from a team player aspect. I doubt those. In fact, my guess would be those players mentally are a little more down than they were the week before. How can you not be getting beat 70-0? Okay, a little bit longer than we thought it would be, but thanks, and I'm sure something's going to come up in the next week.